CHAMPS Live is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. And the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury or are just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers.
Well, hey everyone, welcome to another edition of State Champs Live, presented by Lawrence Technological University. You know, the State Champs Sports Network is located on the incredible campus that is Lawrence Technological University. This school has so much to offer. It's still the best kept secret in the Midwest. I am encouraging all families that can hear me to explore LTU, cutting edge learning, small class sizes, incredible internship and networking opportunities, 26 varsity level NAIA sports, and transferring from a 2-year or a 4-year institution is easy. For questions or more information, please contact the Office of Admissions by email and the email address is admissions@ltu.edu. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter every Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. My name is Lauren Plant. And speaking of LTU, we're going to be talking about collegiate esports, among other things, with the Dean of Students at Lawrence Tech, Kevin Finn. If you are a gamer, want to be a part of a varsity sports team, an esports team, maybe even earn a college scholarship, stay tuned. This show's for you. But first, let's get to the headlines for Wednesday, June 10th.
MHSAA lets the North open more. In response to the latest changes from Governor Gretchen Whitmer's office, which moved the Northwestern Lower Peninsula and all of the UP into Phase 5 of the state's recovery, the MHSAA released Tuesday amended guidelines for the same areas. Starting today, provided they've met the calendar criteria for opening back up, schools in those regions can increase their maximum of participants in outdoor workouts from 100 to 250 and incorporate indoor workouts of 50 or fewer participants. NCAA working for more football preseason. The NCAA's Football Oversight Committee is expected to finalize a plan on Thursday to allow teams to hold up to 12 unpadded walkthroughs during the 14 days in August prior to the normal opening of preseason. The added practice time allows 20 total countable hours per week of athletic-related activities. This should help offset the fact that most programs had spring practice wiped out by COVID-19. Mlb Draft unlikely to include Michigan high schoolers. It's a pretty solid bet that the Detroit Tigers will take Arizona State's Spencer Torkelson when the MLB Draft begins at 7 p.m. tonight. And like 2016, what's almost as much of a sure thing is that there likely won't be any names of Michigan high school players called. 2006 only had one. This year's draft is only 5 rounds, spread over Wednesday and Thursday evenings, and there have only been 4 Michigan high school players selected in the first 5 rounds since the year 2000. For more, you can read the full story on statechampsnetwork.com.
Okay, those are the headlines. Let's get to today's Hungry Howie's Twitter question of the day. Do you think any Michigan high school players will be selected in the MLB draft? We put it to the people. Is it yes? Is it no? Is it no only because of the reduced draft? Or I really don't know. Find State Champs Michigan on Twitter and vote. We'll read the results tomorrow. Well, several years ago, a wave spread across the world, and that is competitive esports. With games like League of Legends, teams were competing all over the globe, and in some cases, careers have been made. The League of Legends World Championship, for example, has drawn as many as 30,000 spectators at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. We took notice, and backed by the incredible administration at Lawrence Technological University, we have had League of Legends seasons for years now with a March Madness-like tournament at the end hosted by Lawrence Tech. Now, obviously, we're not doing that this year. It's a virtual-only competition, but the season continued. Now, it was only natural that universities would soon jump on board. And now LTU is creating its own varsity esports team that will compete like every other sport at Lawrence Tech. And here to talk about it with us, among other things, is the Dean of Students of Lawrence Technological University, Kevin Finn. Hey, Kevin, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, too. Look forward to talking.
All right, great. It's good to see you. Now, creating an esports varsity team. Talk about how long this has been in the works.
Until a 2-year process. The one challenge we had is there's a lot of ways to compete in it as a club team, a varsity team. There's some national associations, but we were really looking forward to it eventually, hopefully joining the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. And I think that'll happen soon, but not this year. And we plan to launch a team this year, varsity wise. So it's been a work in progress. Still a little bit more to do.
All right, so I know that, again, this is the beginning stages and it's exciting, and we want to actually send out a call to those who are already Lawrence Tech students as well as new students that will be enrolled this year, that they will have an opportunity to join this new program.
Yeah.
Have there been any games discussed?
Yeah, there's 4 different games we're looking at: Overwatch, League of Legends, Rocket League, and then Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Those are the 4 that we're looking at, and then we're looking to host tryouts in a couple weeks here, and we're going to post that information on the LTU athletics website as well as on state champs information online as well.
All right, so let's go there. What the tryouts like? Do you have more details as to exactly how people can participate?
Yeah, they'll register online, and then they'll be given a date and time that they'll compete, and we'll be looking to see what their score is in different competitions and making sure that they have the ability to successfully compete at the collegiate esports level. Essentially, it's just like any other sport. Not only you have to have interest in it, but you do have to be good at it too, because there's some really good competition. So we do have to get a look at their player profiles with their personal rankings right now, but then see how they perform with a little bit of stress in a competition.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting. And we've hosted some of those games, via state champs. We've had League of Legends. We had Rocket League last fall, and that's really fun. Great competition. And then also we are introducing Overwatch at the high school level this winter. So we'll be working in symmetry there and hopefully grooming your next champions.
Right.
The NAIA, of which Lawrence Tech participates in, and what other schools have talked about creating this esports league?
Well, just even in our own conference that we typically play mostly, in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference, you have Siena Heights University that has an esports team right now. Lourdes University has one. I know Concordia was looking into it, and Indiana Tech was getting ready to launch one. So we'll see more join. It's a natural. Most of these students are doing some form of esports in high school already as it is. And let's face it, there's scholarship opportunities available. So their parents and the students themselves, it's a way to help offset some of those costs of higher ed, but also get involved in a fun activity while you're studying whatever discipline you choose to study at that university.
Absolutely. And Lawrence Technological University is uniquely placed in this type of situation because of, the game art design program and computer science and some other degrees that kind of work hand in hand with competitive esports players.
You got it, exactly. We're already starting to see some of our students getting jobs in the gaming industry as well. So I can only think of how if you have the degree in computer science or game art design, and then you're on the esports team, you'll be well suited for many different career paths in this field.
Yeah, and I would imagine, being the innovators that LTU always is, there will be new curriculums, in place as obviously technology changes and the job market calls for certain guys with certain skills and coding and all of that, that they will follow suit. So it sounds like a really excellent opportunity for a lot of, potential students. And this is the future. This is kind of where we are at now with reference to that. With regards to other sports, because I believe there's 26 is what I said as far as varsity team. Right. So the new NAIA guidelines with reference to the fall have been given out. So what are those?
Yeah, so those impact these sports: football, men's and women's soccer, volleyball, and cross country. We can return our athletes for practices beginning on August 15th. They can come back right now to work out in individual workouts, although, as you know, in our current state with the state of Michigan, at what level we're at in southeastern Michigan, we can't use fitness centers and gyms right now. So that's not available to them, but they could if our state was allowing it. But beginning August 15th, we'll have sanctioned practices. They can start competing in actual competitions for soccer and volleyball and cross country on September 5th. And then football season this year will begin on September 12th, which was a little bit of they're obviously a little disappointed, the athletes. In particular for us, we were looking forward to our opener. It was scheduled to be against Madonna, who's a first-year program in football. So I know our coach and our university is working on right now to see how we could maybe reschedule a different match or a different game for football, for we could still have that game with Madonna later this year. But there's like the football season went from 11 games to 9. Soccer's going from 18 to 14. It is necessary. We got to reduce the amount of exposure these student athletes have, and especially when they come back to the campus community. It's very hard to tell where COVID will be at that point, but we're all anticipating a second wave. So that's it's being done out of safety and precautions more than anything. But they'll still be eligible for national championships and that good stuff.
All right, fantastic. And I really think for anyone who has a preconceived notion about what life is like at Lawrence Technological University, one of the things, it's been a decade now since athletics have been reintroduced to the school, and we've been following it every step of the way, and it really has changed the dynamic on campus. From if anyone thought before that maybe this is more of strictly a commuter school, great education, but campus life isn't really what maybe I might be looking for in a university, that has all changed. And I try to continue to kind of harp on that it really feels, while still having that kind of intimate small school, small class size feel with all the athletes around, it really does have more of people have more of a rooting interest as everything is happening.
And there's always something going on. Once we get to September, through this year being different, obviously, but through May, there's always an event on campus. Wednesday nights, there's either a basketball or a volleyball match or lacrosse. And then on the weekends, you got baseball, soccer, football. It's really great. And then the other part is that, like I see the volleyball image here, the successes. The teams are competing nationally. They're getting known. They're getting some wonderful opportunities to compete in some great tournaments and go against some of the best teams in the country. It's been really nice. And you see it equivalent back to the classroom. We just got our grade point average report for the last semester. Every team was above a 3.0 overall, which was the first time we ever had that. So they have 26 teams competing, but at the same time, all of them having their overall GPA above a 3.0, and the engineering and science and architecture curriculums is an incredible accomplishment.
Absolutely, because we all know that is challenging, and it's great, and that's one of the advantages of having an atmosphere that obviously fosters education first, and then of course the release that you have through athletics and the pride and joy that comes from that, and getting a chance to compete in college sports all over the country, where these teams travel to. I think it's really just all coming together. This is such an exciting time for Lawrence Tech, and we're excited to be a part of it. If you have a question regarding maybe esports and how you would like to get involved, if you happen to be a prospective student, you can ask it now. I'll get to them in just a moment. But any questions for Dean Finn, we can get to it. But first, let's just take a quick moment and review what happened this week in state champs history.
We go to a Division I girls soccer regional final from 12 years ago, featuring Ann Arbor Huron and Northville. Huron was in search of its first regional title, and Northville, the #1 team in the state, coming in. Both teams had solid scoring chances throughout the game, but we were scoreless and headed into overtime. It then went into a shootout as both the River Rats and the Mustangs exchanged goals. Huron had a 3-2 lead when Northville's attempt to tie it just goes high. Huron hung on to win the regional championship. The River Rats would go on to beat Grosse Pointe North in the Division I state championship a week later. This week in state champs history is always presented by Lawrence Tech Athletics. Recruit yourself at LTUathletics.com.
And that takes me, it's all the pre-HD era, right? It's always fun to look at the video. It seems so dated now. It's crazy. But that is really what I wanted to harp on with you next. And that is the unique opportunity that students have to recruit themselves. So many fall between the cracks and feel like if coaches aren't reaching out to them, that they really have no means of garnering some attention. But, through the athletics website, and through whatever program it is that you would like to see if you could have an opportunity to play for Lawrence Tech, you can go ahead and recruit yourself. It's a very unique tool.
Yeah. And I would tell you, all our coaches are still working right now, and that's what most of them are looking at right now. They're looking at videos that they're receiving from recruits. because they can't go out and recruit physically right now like we used to. So please send your highlight reels in. Our coaches will get to it, and they look forward to learning more about those who are interested. And don't doubt yourself. There's a spot for everybody. So get your stuff in. Our coaches are always interested in somebody who first and foremost wants to get that Lawrence Tech degree, and then we'll be committed to working hard for one of our teams.
Well, there you go. And Kevin, how long have you been at Lawrence Technological University?
Since 2001. I started off in career services, and then in 2007, I had the opportunity to start the Dean of Students role. So yeah, it's been great. It's a nice family here. I think that's what the students will feel when they are students here, and just really great faculty that do just some phenomenal work with growing the minds of our students and getting them opportunities to become the global leaders that we're hoping that they will become.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but since you will be celebrating your 20th year next year, that will be your anniversary, you've seen perhaps the biggest transformation of the university in its history over the course of the last two decades.
When I started here, there was two housing units. There are now four. Actually, there was one housing unit. There are now four. There was no athletic field. There was a very old basketball court that we could not play games on. The building I'm sitting in right now was not built. Those aren't all, obviously those aren't because of me. Many people helped that account, but it's been so great to watch this growth.
So you're uniquely qualified to just talk on, what makes Lawrence Technological University such a special place to get an education. And if you are a student athlete, the opportunities afforded to those individuals as well.
I think the first thing I always say to people is the faculty. Great faculty who really care about the students, faculty that like to extend their learning beyond the classroom. I will say when I did my undergraduate degree, it was at a different school. I didn't see faculty offer me opportunities to practice what I was doing in the classroom with opportunities either in a work setting or in a laboratory or on a research. That is very common here. And I think that makes it just really develops the learning and helps those students get just much more experience. The second thing is that combine that now. We have many student life things. So those things that you want to do outside the classroom, whether it be athletics, whether it be music, like of our band and dance, whether it be working in one of our theater groups, being involved in Greek life, there's other things to complement that experience back. And that connects you back to a very involved alumni base who really care a lot about this university where it's at right now, but also connecting with the current students and making sure that they have the success. So I think, again, it's part of becoming a part of a family and growing that, and that's what makes it really unique here.
All right, and once again, before we let you go, what are the details again for the open tryouts for the new Varsity Esports?
It's going to be the end of June. I don't have the exact dates right now, but we will be posting that early next week on the LTU Athletics website as well as on the State Champs Network's websites.
Okay. All right, so you can follow State Champs, which of course I hope you do. And of course, follow LTU Athletics to get everything. Again, you can recruit yourself there and they'll have the information on the brand new Varsity Esports team being created at Lawrence Tech. There's a new arena that's been built, a great workplace in right below our offices, in fact, and so that you can get your game on and get your skills up so that you can represent the Blue Devils against those in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference and the NAIA as a whole. So, all right. So thank you, Dean Kevin. We appreciate it very much, and we'll talk to you again.
Thank you so much. Take care.
All right, take care. Let's take a look at today's clip of the day.
And that's your clip of the day.
And those are the kind of clips that you should be sending to the football staff at Lawrence Technological University. You just go to ltuathletics.com and click the Recruit Yourself button. There'll be a questionnaire, and you can then also have email addresses in which you can submit your videos. Who knows? We want to see you as a part of Blue Devil Nation, and we will celebrate you here all over the State Champs Network, as well as, again, we're very involved with streaming all of the games, live streaming all the games for LTU Athletics, as well as their social media and all kinds of things, so we can give you lots of exposure and celebrate you and your time at Lawrence Technological University. Let's check out today's DMC Game Changers.
The first part is to get your core temperature and your heart rate up, so it takes blood to your muscles. You can do this by simply going into a jogging motion, or you can use a bicycle.
All right, so that's just a taste of the importance of warming up. So again, all over State Champs social media platforms, our website, our streaming app, there's a YouTube playlist. Just search State Champs TV and then click on that to catch all the DMC Game Changers segments. They really are quite informative. They're a full 2 minutes and really gives you great insight on things that you can do to become a better athlete. Now, we've been talking about esports here on this particular program, and State Champs, of course, has been doing high school esports for a very long time, and we have a League of Legends tournament that is almost complete. So if you go to our Twitch channel, State Champs Esports on Twitch, you could check out action. There are games right now from the playoffs, and you can see which high schools are doing the best and who will be state champs for this year. All right, let's check out the results of yesterday's Hungry Howie's Twitter question of the day. Do you think the NFL season will start on time? Looks like overwhelmingly you say yes, but not the preseason. So interesting. We will see what happens with that, and I wouldn't be too disappointed if we didn't have preseason. Let's get to the games, and let's just have some football. Okay, tomorrow on live, speaking of football, we are going to have Matt Mowry, the digital managing editor at StateChampsNetwork.com, who is following up his very successful Michigan Helmet Challenge series, talking recruiting. And he is putting together a list of what is the top 300 athletes in the state of Michigan. So I'm going to read this real quick because it's important you understand what it is. The SC 300 comes in a dozen segments. So there'll be a dozen articles, but it's meant not to shine a spotlight on just the top recruits who become household names. We know that, but also the lesser known guys, the ones that might not end up at a Power 5 school, but the ones that wind up making the core of rosters at places like Lawrence Tech, Fort Ferris State, Grand Valley State, Northwood, Davenport, and even Division III schools. So first, we've gone through the top 130 recruits in the state. They're ranked in order. And then there's going to be a 7-part series highlighting 100 additional 2021, the class of 21 players that you need to know, kids who have either made their mark on the high school landscape or are about to. So quite frankly, so we'll give you some knowledge there. We'll talk to Matt Mowry more about it tomorrow right here on live at 2 p.m. And if you know of a guest that you would like to see here on live, email our show coordinator, Amanda. Her address, amanda@yellowflagproductions.com. Have a great day, and maybe we'll get some storms here. Whatever. Stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Right now, we are all longing for the roar of a crowd, the excitement of a stadium filled with cheering fans, and the ecstasy of celebrating a hard-fought victory. But right now, we're all on the same team, and we must do our part to make sure as many students, athletes, coaches, teachers, parents, and loved ones are there when we have the luxury to resume our rivalries and start rooting for our teams once again. Stay home and stay safe.
State Champs Live is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare, Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor, and the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury or are just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers.